Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into a genuinely fascinating world today, the mechanics of e-commerce marketing and advertising. Ever catch yourself wondering how an online store manages to turn you from a casual window shopper into a loyal, repeat buyer? Well, spoiler alert, it is definitely not magic. It's a highly structured, data-driven ecosystem. Over the next few minutes, we're going to track a virtual consumer's journey. We'll look at the psychology behind why we click buy, that invisible tech personalizing everything we see, and how businesses track every single penny they spend along the way.
But right off the bat, let me ask you this. You know when you look at a pair of shoes online, just once, and suddenly they're following you around the web for weeks? Kind of creepy, right? We'll treat this explainer like an investigative expose. We're pulling back the curtain on exactly how and why that happens, because it's all part of this massive, incredibly sophisticated digital engine that's literally designed to figure out what you want, sometimes before you even realize you want it.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. 1. The online consumer. 2. Digital strategies and tools. 3. The technology of tracking. And 4. Measuring marketing success.
Section 1, the online consumer. Let's figure out who is actually shopping and why. And this brilliantly illustrates how academic researchers map out our behavior. Look at how all these different things, your demographic background, cultural norms, even psychological factors, they all funnel down. Add in the actual features of the website itself, and it all leads to what they call clickstream behavior. That's that precise split-second moment right before you purchase, usually right after you've convinced yourself you absolutely need yet another coffee mug. It's this massive, complex web of influences culminating in just one single click. To really wrap our heads around the scale of this, check out this punchy stat. Over 92.5% of internet users are shoppers. Just think about that. It proves how universal this journey really is. Out of that massive chunk of people, over 83% are actual buyers. Another 9% or so are browsers. People who might research a product online but ultimately buy it in a physical store. But the main takeaway here, pretty much everyone online is participating in this e-commerce ecosystem, in one way or another. So, what actually makes us pull out our credit cards? Well, even in a highly digital world, human emotions totally rule the day. Research shows there are two main drivers of online purchasing: utility and trust. Utility is all about, better prices, convenience, speed. Trust is exactly what it sounds like: credibility, low risk, and knowing you'll actually get what you paid for. If a vendor doesn't feel trustworthy or they don't have a smooth, easy checkout, utility, we're just going to bounce to another site. It really is that simple. Section 2, digital strategies and tools. Let's open up the marketer's toolkit. Let's take a second to contrast the old physical world of traditional mass marketing with this new online era. Offline, marketing was very much a mass market, sales force-driven kind of thing. You targeted broad, passive audiences. But online, we have what's called information density. The internet completely supercharges the information intensity of the marketplace. This allows marketers to deliver highly customized, incredibly rich messages, think video, audio, to specific individuals based directly on what they've bought in the past. It's absolute precision versus, a shotgun approach. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is just how diverse the marketer's toolkit actually is. Search engine marketing is a big one because it captures your immediate intentions. It shows you ads exactly when you're actively searching for a specific thing. Then you've got display and video ads, which are great for building behavioral profiles over time. Email marketing, surprisingly, it still boasts amazing response rates, mainly because users have actually opted in to receive them. And, of course, affiliate marketing, which drives traffic by paying commissions across the web. It is a highly coordinated multi-channel strategy. But we do need to briefly talk about the darker side of this toolkit. An advertiser's absolute worst nightmares are laid out right here. First up is ad fraud. This is where botnets literally imitate real human shoppers, generating fake clicks and just draining marketing budgets. Second is poor viewability. Believe it or not, a huge chunk of online ads are technically served but never actually seen by human eyes. And third, you've got ad blocking software, which acts like a giant firewall against marketing messages. So it's a constant uphill battle for marketers to secure real human engagement. Which brings us to Section 3, the technology of tracking. Time to look at the invisible engine behind all this personalization. The foundational tool for all of this is something you've definitely heard of, the cookie. Think of a digital cookie kind of like a physical store clerk who miraculously remembers your name, your exact sizes, and every single thing you've ever bought, every time you walk through the door.
On a technical level, it's really just a tiny text file placed on your computer. But when you go back to a site, it reads that history to customize the products you see. It literally personalizes your entire visit.
So what exactly is this tech actually gathering on you? Well, web transaction logs and tracking files capture your unique IDs, your precise clickstream behavior, and all your shopping cart actions. Literally every click, every paused video, and yeah, every abandoned cart full of stuff you probably shouldn't be buying anyway. It all builds a really comprehensive profile. Marketers then combine all that with registration forms to map out major patterns in your interests, and they dynamically adjust your experience in real time.
And all of this incredible data feeds directly into a CRM, or customer relationship management system. You can think of this as the ultimate centralized brain for a business. A CRM acts as a single, massive storehouse that records every single interaction a brand has with you across every touchpoint. It generates this fully complete profile that is available to anyone in the company who needs to know the customer. It completely replaces the old school model where data was just locked away in isolated product silos.
Now, handling all of this tracking across millions of users requires some serious computing muscle. Enter big data. We are talking about analyzing literally petabytes of digital data from web traffic, social media, you name it. To manage this absolute avalanche of information, companies rely on massive open source software frameworks like Hadoop. Hadoop can store and analyze both structured and unstructured data. It's basically the engine that turns raw data into actionable marketing gold, uncovering totally new insights into how we behave online. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 4, Measuring Marketing Success, the bottom line.
We really need to frame these metrics not just as dry math equations, but as the ultimate scorecard. This is how digital marketers know if their strategies are actually surviving in the wild. First, you have CAC, or customer acquisition cost, which basically evaluates how efficient their marketing spend is. Then there's LTV, customer lifetime value, which figures out the long-term economic value of a shopper. And of course, ROI, return on investment, measuring overall capital efficiency. Look, if it costs more to acquire a customer than that customer will ever spend, meaning CAC is higher than LTV, that business is in serious trouble. Now, here is a critical vocabulary for online advertising costs. This is literally how marketers pay for visibility. You've got CTR, the click-through rate, which shows the exact percentage of times an ad is actually clicked. Then there's CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions, which is super common for building brand awareness. And finally, CPA, cost per action. With CPA, the advertiser only pays when a user actually does something specific, like signing up or buying a product. Marketers track this user engagement down to the exact click just to make sure they aren't wasting a single dime.
Let's walk down this visual funnel step by step, alongside our virtual consumer. This model beautifully charts the path from broad market communications right down to a loyal customer. Notice how incredibly wide the funnel is at the very top. That's where search engines and display ads are creating general awareness. But look at how drastically it shrinks. As we move down through search and evaluation, we get closer and closer to that highly coveted purchase, and eventually, if they're lucky, post-purchase loyalty.
So the crucial point is right here. Just look at this number, 50. In this specific model, you might start with 100,000 completely untargeted impressions. That might only yield about 1,000 unique visitors and ultimately just 50 actual purchases. That's right, a staggering 100,000 impressions might only result in 50 sales, leaving you with what, maybe 12 loyal customers? It perfectly illustrates why targeting and personalization are absolutely critical if you want to improve those conversion rates. To wrap up this journey, you have to understand that marketers basically live inside their marketing analytics dashboards. These software packages collect and analyze data at every single stage of that funnel we just looked at. They track exactly how people find the site, how deeply engaged they are, the exact moment they abandon their shopping carts, and even their behavior after they buy. Marketers are constantly, obsessively tweaking their campaigns based on this tracking, all to optimize their overall return on investment. Which leaves us with a final, slightly provocative question. As we've seen today, pretty much every click, hover, and purchase is tracked, analyzed, and used to optimize the digital environment around you. It's a brilliant, highly efficient ecosystem, for sure. But with all of this tracking, data mining, and predictive analytics operating silently in the background, who is really in control of your next click? Is it you, or is it the invisible engine of e-commerce? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, always keep questioning what you see online.